Take a look at what the Washington Post says about the city of Ferguson. Ferguson holds municipal elections in April of odd-numbered years, a progressive-era reform that has been shown to have a dramatic effect on reducing turnout. Ferguson also holds nonpartisan elections, where party labels do not appear on the ballot. Another progressive reform, and one that has been shown to reduce both what citizens know about candidates as well as their likelihood of voting. And joining me now to discuss are Missouri State Senator Maria Chappelle-Nadal, who represents parts of Ferguson, and Goldie Taylor, an MSNBC contributor. And State Senator Chappelle-Nadal, I want to start with you because that does seem to be a part of the problem here. You have an unrepresentative government governing the city of Ferguson, in part because of these weird off-year timed elections. Is there any discussion within the state Senate, within the legislature, to change that?
Absolutely. We've had those discussions for years now, but actually getting enough votes through the Senate and the House is very difficult to do that. But I have to tell you that at the ground level, there are many of my constituents who have not been actively engaged in politics who are now encouraged to participate in the process. Right now, I'm hearing from my constituents who want to do a recall of the mayor, as well as have an open communication with council members who are available or not available at this time. And so now there's a lot of interest where there wasn't. A lot of people are talking about voter registration right now and being really aggressive about that. So I'm excited. We're now in phase 2, wanting to be proactive and having some great outcomes and actions. So I'm really encouraged right now, Joy.
Yeah, and you know what, to that point, in the past you had tremendous turnout when it came to the presidential election that President Obama was elected and re-elected in 2012. You're talking about 54% African-American turnout versus just 6% turnout in that 2013 election. But Goldie, when you also just look at Ferguson as a city, you're talking about a 67% African-American city, where of the 6 members of the city council, only 1 is African-American. You're talking about a city where one of the members of the city council is one of the former officers who was accused of beating a man and then charging him with bleeding on their uniforms, and is now on the city council. What is it about this strange dichotomy where you also have a state that is run by a Democratic governor, where you still have these issues of just a disconnect with the largely Democratic African-American community?
Well, Joy, there are a lot of things at play in Ferguson, especially when we talk about voter turnout. The 67% African-American population in Ferguson really doesn't speak to what's inside that population. That population, compared to its white population, is disproportionately young and under 18. You've got a number of people who don't have access to the ballot box. You've got a number of people who are living in poverty and other barriers that stand between them and getting to that voting booth. And so, yes, it is a matter of registering those who are of age and qualified, and then it is having them get vote ready and able to turn out. And so we're talking about the question of having the appropriate identification. There are certain voter suppression measures that are going on in terms of, holding those off-year elections. The current mayor of Ferguson was a former president of the St. Louis Young Republicans. If that had shown up anywhere on that ballot, I don't know that he'd be mayor today. And so there are a number of so-called shenanigans going on that keep a certain part of the community in power and another part of the community, locked out and disenfranchised. How does this play into the larger context of Missouri elections? Well, those Democrats who win statewide can't win without a good turnout from the city of St. Louis, where I grew up and was raised. They cannot win without winning St. Louis County and on over into Kansas City. And so it is a very, very precarious position that they find themselves in now, with having to answer what largely African-American communities are saying they want versus what their white, more affluent constituents say they want there in St. Louis County. And so it's a difficult balance to strike. Governor Nixon certainly has failed in any number of ways, but it's one of the major reasons why he has not taken Prosecutor McAuliffe off this case. It's the reason, I believe, why there has been no special prosecutor appointed by this Attorney General or by this governor, even though they have the power to do so.
Yeah.